Shema Israel. Hope you enjoy this next study. My name's Dee. This is my wife, Millie.
So if you like what you see, subscribe and hit the notification bell. And if you wish to reach out to us, you can email us at devotedtoyah@gmail.com.
The journey began in the wilderness. From this point where we're reading, I mean, this predates Exodus, like you're sharing with us. This is Genesis type of information, but the plan to have the location. But definitely where we're at right now in Exodus 9, this was not taking place in Egypt. So the first step was to leave. We got to go. And then the wilderness, and from the wilderness, cross over into the promised land.
But that makes sense, Ezzy, because a lot of times when there was sin, right, or bloodshed, it affected the land. Like we're going to see natural ways throughout the scriptures where the land was laid desolate. Like there's this display between it's orchestrated between the things that happen spiritually, quote unquote, spiritual realm, as well as the natural realm. They work simultaneously, although we separate it because we see with our narrow vision eyes, but they work simultaneously. But we, and even this morning when I was talking to I was talking to my husband, I was taken aback, right? Because when I hear I'm like, ooh, like especially because the tension went. I'm like, here we go again, right? Yeah.
Stuff again.
But
I was like, babe, I gotta talk about it. I was like, I can't. Where we're at right now, I can't just skip past this again.
Yeah, but we can't take offense to it. And I'll tell you why. Because in Deuteronomy 7, verses 6 and 7, it says, "For you," this is Yahuwah speaking, "for you are a holy people to Yahuwah your God. Yahuwah your God has chosen you to be a people for himself, a special treasure above all the peoples on the face of the earth. Yahuwah did not set his love on you, nor choose you because you were more in number than any other people, for you were the least of all peoples." Verse 8. "But because Yahuwah loves you, and because he would keep the oath which he swore to your fathers, Yahuwah has brought you out with a mighty hand and redeemed you from the house of bondage, from the hand of Pharaoh, king of Egypt." We can't take offense, or at least me, I can't take offense to it, because in reality, Yahuwah is the one that did the choosing, right? So he's the one that chose the specific people, an actual bloodline of people. Why? Because we like to quote, "Oh, he's the same yesterday, today, and forevermore." But what does that include? It includes his covenants, which he made with Abraham, Yitzhak, and Yaakov, Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob. And we also can't take offense to it because there was a purpose to his choosing and to his nation. And we're in Isaiah, so we'll eventually get to it. But Isaiah 49:6, or Yeshua says, "Indeed," he says, "it is too small a thing that you should be my servant, to raise up the tribes of Yaakov and to restore the preserved ones of Israel. I will also give you as a light to the Gentiles, that you should be my salvation to the ends of the earth." So it is, although he has chosen this particular group of people, it is still inclusive to receive his salvation. So it's not exclusive. It's not as though this is simply the apple of his eye, and then all else gets discarded and cannot taste and see that he is good and be able to come and partake of his salvation. So that's not how it is. It's simply that he has chosen them, and they're supposed to be a light to the nations. And going back to that assimilation, because he has chosen this group of people, we should be quicker to assimilate to the things of the world. And we're still learning. I'm still learning it. I'm sure people be like, "Oh, what are you wearing?" We get these comments all the time. "What kind of fabrics are you wearing?" Mostly because they're mockery. But we're still learning, how do we assimilate to the scriptures and come out from them, even though we're surrounded, we're in the world, but not of it, right? So good point.
What does your shirt say, D-Rail? Straight out of Torah. Nice. Out of Babylon into Torah.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
All our information is coming from the Torah. Mm-hmm. Okay, moving on to our next point from Exodus chapter 9, verses 1 to 7. But yeah, this is our notes on verse 1. The second part of verse 1 is the God of Israel. Again, so we talked about coming out. Let my people go so they can worship me, aka get out of Babylon. And now we're going to discuss the God of Israel, which some of that was already discussed in the previous conversation. Thank you, D-Rail, for bringing some of that up. But let's start with Genesis chapter 12, verses 1 to 3 and verses 6 to 7. It says, now, actually, this should literally say the God of the Hebrews, because that's what it says in the passage. But we're going to show you how this is also connected to this. It's all the same. Genesis 12, 1 to 3 and 6 to 7. Now Yahuwah said to Abraham, get out from your country. There's the get out again. We missed that one. But there's the get out once again. Get out of your country, from your family, and from your father's house, to a land that I will show you, Ezzy. I will make you a great nation. I will bless you and make your name great, and you shall be a blessing. I will bless those who bless you, and I will curse him who curses you. And in you all the families of the earth will be blessed. That's Israelites and non-Israelites included. Abraham passed through the land to the place of Shechem as far as the terebinth tree of Moreh, and the Canaanites were then in the land. Then Yahuwah appeared to Abram and said, to your descendants I will give this land. And there he built an altar to Yahuwah who had prepared him. Okay, so this is where things really begin. I mean, we can go back. We can start from Adam. You know, Adam and Eve had, Cain and Abel. Obviously, Abel was killed by his brother Cain. And then, blessings continue through Seth, if I'm not mistaken. And then Noah. Okay, Seth is the father of Noah. Noah found favor or found grace with God. And God was able to give him revelation and understanding of a global flood that was coming. And then Noah had 3 sons, Shem, Japheth, and Ham. And out of those 3 children, the more blessed child that was more blessed and favored was Shem. Shem becomes the grandfather or great-grandfather, I don't remember, of Abraham. I think Abraham's father is Terah, if I'm not mistaken. So then it goes like that. So, but you see how there's a whole lot of children. There's a lot of birthing going on, okay, during all these people. There's a lot of folk on the earth, okay? But out of all these people, God is choosing specific people to speak to and to bless their offspring. And it gets to a point where it comes to Abraham. And now Yahuwah is literally speaking this covenant with a specific people with Abraham. See, before Abraham, a lot of it was a lot of action or a lot of covenants regarding a specific event that was going to take place or things like that. But this is the first time where God is actually establishing a covenant to establish Abraham and his descendants as a people. So that's where it begins, but let's continue. Next part we're going to read is Genesis chapter 26, verse 1 to 5. There was a famine in the land besides the first famine that was in the days of Abraham. There we go. And Isaac went to Abimelech, king of the Philistines, in Gerar. Then Yahuwah appeared to him and said, do not go down to Egypt. Live in the land of which I shall tell you. Dwell in this land, and I will be with you and bless you. For to you and your descendants I give all these lands, and I will perform the oath which I swore to Abraham your father. And I will make your descendants multiply as the stars of heaven. I will give to your descendants all these lands, and in your seed all the nations of the earth shall be blessed. In your seed, meaning by your offspring, by your bloodline, all the nations of the earth will be blessed. Again, it's the superiority of a particular person, a particular people. Because Abraham obeyed my voice and kept my charge, my commandments, my statutes, and my laws. And there goes the obedience, works. Sometimes there are rewards for working. we don't just get rewarded for what we think and what we believe. We get rewarded for also what we do. All right, moving on to this lineage, God's chosen people, the history here. Genesis 28, verses 10 and 13 to 15. Now, Jacob. So this is Jacob is Abraham's regular grandson. Now Jacob went out from Beersheba and went toward Haran. Now, and behold, Yahuwah stood above it and said, I am Yahuwah, God of Abraham, your father, and the God of Isaac. The land on which you lie, I will give to your descendant, to you and your descendants. Also, your descendants shall be as the dust of the earth. You shall spread abroad to the west and east, to the north and the south, and in you and in your seed all the families of the earth will be blessed. Behold, I am with you and will keep you wherever you go, and I will bring you back to this land, for I will not leave you until I have done what I have spoken to you. And so, like Ezzy was saying in the previous discussions, it's about the people and it's about the land.